CQ, calling all radio amateurs and listeners. This is Golf Bravo 2 Romeo Sierra, the news broadcasting service of the Radio Society of Great Britain. This broadcast comes to you in plain English from amateur radio station Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Mappishall, Bedfordshire. Welcome and thanks for joining us. It's Sunday the 24th of August, and here is the GB2RS news broadcast, prepared for you by the RSGB for all radio amateurs and listeners. And you can find this news bulletin on our website at rsgb.org, along with links to groups and organisations that we may mention in this broadcast. This week's news headlines: how you can apply to be the RSGB's Youth Activities and Engagement Champion. News on the Tonight at 8 webinar series, which is back with a brilliant autumn lineup. And Hans Summers of QRP Labs fame is confirmed as the RSGB Convention's after-dinner speaker. We'll have more on those items in a moment, but first, the RSGB youth team are looking for a proactive, enthusiastic and innovative person to join the team as a volunteer youth activities and engagement champion. The role will lead on youth-focused activities, and it will help to create resources for young foundation licence holders. So if you'd like to help inspire young people to explore new aspects of amateur radio, then please read the full role description, which you'll find at rsgb.org/volunteers. And once you've had a read of that, if you're interested, get in touch with the Youth Board Liaison. That's Ben Lloyd, Golf Whiskey 4 Bravo Mike Lima. And Ben's email address is Golf Whiskey 4 Bravo Mike Lima at rsgb.org.uk. And this exciting position, if you're working in this position, you'll be working with Ben, as well as the existing youth champions and the RSGB outreach team. And you can get some of the amazing, or you can see some of the amazing projects that the team has worked on at the RSGB youth web pages. You'll find those at rsgb.org/youth. And now we have news of the Tonight at 8 autumn programme, which kicks off on Monday the 1st of September. They have a fascinating presentation from Kristen McIntyre, Kilo 6 Whiskey X-Ray. During the 45-minute session, Kristen will clearly explain Maxwell's equations to help you understand a topic that can feel impenetrable. Maxwell's equations are essential for radio amateurs, and they explain how RF signals propagate, how antennas radiate, and all about how common mode currents form. By the end of the informative webinar, you'll be able to see how Maxwell's 4 simultaneous differential equations combine to bring the world of radio to life. Kristen discovered amateur radio when she was a student at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology back in 1979, and she's been active ever since. And among other roles, she's the ARRL First Vice President and was recently inducted into the CQ Amateur Radio Hall of Fame. And you can learn more about Kristen and this webinar at rsgb.org/webinars. Now, we've confirmed that Hans Summers, Golf Zero Uniform Papa Lima from QRP Labs, is the after-dinner speaker chosen for our convention in October. Following the gala dinner, Hans will share the emotions he experienced during the 9 months that he spent adding SSB to the QMX transceiver. You can buy your tickets for the gala dinner, along with those for the full convention program and the 3 exciting workshops. You can buy your tickets at rsgb.org/convention. And this year's RSGB convention takes place at Kent's Hill Conference Centre. That's in Milton Keynes, and that runs between Friday the 10th and Sunday the 12th of October. So book now and join like-minded radio amateurs for an action-packed programme. The RSGB Examination Standards Committee is pleased to announce the publication of an updated version of the Direct to Full syllabus. We've moved some points between Section 1 on licensing and Section 2 on operating, and these changes bring the Direct to Full syllabus into line with the latest version of the three-part syllabus. You can find the updated syllabus and change documentation on the RSGB website at rsgb.org/syllabus. And these changes come into effect from January 2026, so please choose the correct version of the syllabus for the date you plan to take your exam. Now, 4 young RSGB members have spent the last week near Paris for this year's Youngsters on the Air Summer Camp. The event was a huge success, with activities that included group member Sophie, Mike 7 India Juliet Golf, asking a question to astronaut Mike Fink, Kilo Echo 5 Alpha India Tango, and that was during the camp's ARISS contact with the International Space Station. You can hear more from the young radio amateurs on their blog at rsgb.org/YOTA-camp, and YOTA is spelled Yankee Oscar Tango Alpha, and then it's hyphen Charlie Alpha Mike Papa. Now, we invite all radio amateurs to a Meet the President Day at the RSGB's National Radio Centre, and that's being held on Thursday the 28th of August. The Society's President, Bob Beebe, Golf Uniform 4 Yankee Oscar X-Ray, will be there throughout the day to welcome members and to hear their views and discuss the work that we do to support and promote amateur radio. So, if you're an RSGB member, remember to download your free entry voucher to Bletchley Park. You can do that at rsgb.org/BP voucher. And now we have news of the Maritime Radio Historical Society in the United States. In cooperation with the Cipher History Museum, they've arranged to transmit an Enigma message via the Maritime Radio Coast Station Kilo Papa Hotel near San Francisco. The transmission will take place on Saturday the 30th of August at 2000 UTC. So KP listeners or KPH listeners, intercept operators and code breakers everywhere are invited to try their hand at receiving the transmission and decrypting the message. For more information with details of certificates you can earn if you decrypt the message, visit tinyurl.com/MRHS2025. That's Mike Romeo Hotel Sierra 2025. And now we bring you details of rallies and events. Today, the 24th of August, it's the Milton Keynes Amateur Radio Society Rally, which takes place at Heron's Lodge Guide Activity Centre on Bradwell Road in Loughton Lodge, Milton Keynes, and there's free on-site car parking, catering and disabled facilities. Entrance is £3 and the doors open at 9 a.m. and you can find more information at mkars.org.uk/MK Rally. The Torbay Amateur Radio Society Rally also takes place today, and that's being held at Newton Abbot Racecourse. Doors open at 10 a.m. and entry is £3, and you can find more information at Torbay ARS, that's all one word, torbayars.org. And tomorrow, the 25th, it's the Huntingdonshire Amateur Radio Society Radio Rally, which will take place at the Ramsey Rural Museum. That's on Wood Lane in Ramsey, and the postcode for your sat-nav is Papa Echo 262 X-Ray Delta. For more information, you can visit tinyurl.com/hunts25. That's Hotel Uniform November Tango Sierra 25. The Telford Hamfest will take place on Sunday the 31st of August. That's being held at the Harper Adams University Sports Hall. Doors will open at 10:15 a.m. and admission is £5 with free entry for under 16s. The GQRP Club will be there with a Saturday buildathon, and you can get more details at tinyurl.com/TDARS25. That's Tango Delta Alpha Romeo Sierra 25. Well, now we have the special event news. In memory of Maximilian Kolbe, special call sign 4 Alpha 2 Mike Alpha X-ray is active until the 31st of August. They're operating on 80 to 6 meters using CW, SSB and digital modes. Kolbe is venerated by the Catholic Church as the patron saint of amateur radio operators. You can QSL via Logbook of the World, EQSL, QRZ.com or via Echo Alpha 5 Golf Lima. Next, to celebrate the International Amateur Radio Union's 100th anniversary, members of the Atlantic Coast DX and Contest Group are active as Charlie Golf 9 India Alpha Romeo uniform, and they'll be active throughout August. They were heard recently on 20 meters SSB, and if you're lucky enough to contact them, you can QSL via Victor Echo 9 Charlie Foxtrot. You can also get more information from QRZ.com. Just look up the call sign, which is Charlie Golf 9 India Alpha Romeo uniform. And now we have the DX news. Aldir, Papa Yankee 1 Sierra Alpha Delta, is active as 8 Romeo 1 Tango Mike. He's operating from Guyana until the 23rd of September using CW, SSB and digital modes on all bands and satellite. You can QSL via Logbook of the World, EQSL, QRZ.com or direct to Papa Yankee 1 Sierra Alpha Delta. Don Kilo Whiskey 7 Romeo is active as Victor 73 Kilo Whiskey. He's operating from the Marshall Islands until September, and he's using CW and FT8 on various bands. You can QSL via Logbook of the World. And now we bring you the contest news. Today, the 24th of August, it's the UK Microwave Group's 5.7 and 10 GHz contest, which runs from 0600 to 1800 UTC. Using all modes on the 5.7 and 10 GHz bands, the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. Then on Tuesday the 26th, it's the RSGB's SHF UK Activity Contest, which runs from 1830 to 2130 UTC. Using all modes on the 2.3 to 10 GHz bands, the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. And finally, the worldwide Digi DX contest starts at 1200 UTC on Saturday the 30th and ends at 1200 UTC on Sunday the 31st of August. Using FT4 and FT8 on the 160 to 10 meter bands where contests are allowed, the exchange is your 4-character locator. Right, well now we move to the HF Radio Propagation Report. This was compiled for you by Golf 0 Kilo Yankee Alpha, Golf 3 Yankee Lima Alpha and Golf 4 Bravo Alpha Oscar on Thursday the 21st of August. Well, last week was relatively good for HF with only a few periods with high KP index, and that's thanks to a high-speed solar wind stream from a coronal hole. The KP index hit 4.67 on the 19th of August and hit 4 again on the 20th, and that was due to the solar wind hitting the Earth at more than 600 kilometers per second. Luckily, the interplanetary magnetic field remained mostly neutral or north facing, and the density was low, which saved us from more disruption. The solar flux index fell to 120 by Thursday the 21st, and this is still high enough to affect the ionosphere, but below recent levels which have been in the 150s. The daytime critical frequency has mostly remained above 7.5 MHz, which means that the 40 meter band has been good for inter-UK contacts. This has meant that maximum usable frequencies over 3,000 kilometers hit 24.9 MHz at times. Nighttime critical frequencies have been around 5 MHz, giving a maximum usable frequency over 3,000 kilometers as low as 10 MHz. So it may be another month or so before daytime F2 layer openings start up again on 28 MHz. So in the meantime, focus your efforts during daylight on 21 MHz and below. Now we have some DX news, some good spots that have been made. Tango 30 Tango 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 in Western Kiribati remains one of the DX stations to chase, mostly on 18 and 21 MHz. The operators tend to swap between using CW, SSB and FT8. And other choice DX includes Jim, Echo 51 Juliet Delta. He's on South Cook Islands and he's been active on 17 meters SSB. Then we've also got Tango Yankee 5 Alpha Delta in Benin, and they've been worked on the 10 meter band using FT8. And then there's also 3 Golf 1 Papa, an IOTA D expedition in Chile, and they've been logged on 15 meters SSB. A little closer to home, today the 24th, it's the last chance for you to work Oscar Golf 0 Charlie, who is located on the Åland Islands. And next week, NOAA predicts that the solar flux index will remain in the 120s until the end of the month, when it could rise to 130 and possibly even 150. Unsettled geomagnetic conditions are forecast for the 28th of August, when the KP index could hit 4. Otherwise, make the most of the relatively settled conditions over the first half of next week to work some DX. And now we have the VHF and up propagation news. This was compiled for you by Golf 3 Yankee Lima Alpha and Golf 4 Bravo Alpha Oscar. Well, after this weekend, the weather changes from a tropo high pressure pattern to more unsettled, with areas of low pressure and fronts with winds and rain. So this will remove any tropo options and will replace them with the possibility of rain scatter for the gigahertz bands. The auroral conditions have recently produced minor enhancements, although nothing too exciting so far. The autumn and spring are times when auroras are more likely, so it's a good time of the year to monitor the KP index, especially if it goes above 5. We're at the tail end of the broader period of the Perseid meteor shower, which ends today, the 24th. This leaves random meteor activity as the only option for a while, and as those of you who are active in the mode already know, it tends to be best in the early pre-dawn period, or for better chances of catching meteor scatter. Sporadic E is hanging on for the last week or two of the 2025 season, but is becoming much rarer. You'll need to keep a close watch on band reports to capture these increasingly fleeting events. In the main sporadic E season, there are usually 2 well-defined peaks of activity in the morning and late afternoon. However, in the tail of the sporadic E season, as it comes to an end, you're just as likely to find it around the middle of the day as at any other time. The daily sporadic E blogs at propquest.co.uk finish at the end of August, but in some years the last events have extended into the first week of September. For EME operators or moon bounce operators, moon declination is positive, but is falling, going negative on Monday. So moon window lengths and peak elevation will follow suit. Path losses are rising again as we approach apogee, which will be on the 29th, Friday the 29th. 144 MHz sky noise has been low and will be so until lunchtime on Friday the 22nd, when the sun and moon were very close in the sky. And this continued throughout the moon window yesterday, the 23rd, and will revert to moderate to low next week. And that's all from the propagation team this week. And indeed, that's all for this week's GB2RS News broadcast, which was brought to you by Graham, Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Meppershall, Bedfordshire. The Radio Society of Great Britain compiled the news, and they represent amateur radio and radio amateurs in the UK and abroad. If you have a news item to share, then please email it to us as far in advance as possible, and we'll be pleased to include it for you free of charge in the GB2RS news broadcasts, Radcom magazine and the RSGB website. Send your news to the editorial team. Their email address is radcom@rsgb.org.uk. If your news items are time sensitive, then it's really important that you send them to us by 10 a.m. at the latest on the Thursday prior to the news broadcasts. We retain copyright over all material that we transmit, and you can find information about amateur radio on our website, which is rsgb.org. And you can also download the full schedule of GB2RS broadcasts from rsgb.org/GB2RS schedule. Well, we wish you 7-3 from the GB2RS news team. We hope you have a lovely Sunday and a great week ahead. This is Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta now closing.